we're actually in a wonderful time where there are a lot of these component parts that have really fast returns on investment. And think about if you had a quick starter fund, and you were an entrepreneur and you were starting up a company. You pick the ones with the biggest return on investment fast and create some cash. Okay. So I pick workflow automation as one of the quickest ones. You can get paybacks on workflow automation in weeks or months. And I struck a deal with a CFO that when I would do those projects, he would seed me money to begin with. I was given some seed money, the quick starter fund, to start some small projects like that. And when they generated cash, I could keep a certain percentage of it to reinvest. Okay. And then I would do the next one and reinvest and reinvest. And that ball started rolling really, really fast. So I ended up generating a lot of cash that I could then put into further programs. And like I said, a perfect place to start is in workflow automation.
But can you just let's try to be a little bit more specific. So this workflow, can you explain what was the workflow you modeled? What was the business automation process you actually managed?
So if you think about workflow automation, it really is any business process automation. We talk about automation in the factory floor an awful lot. We don't think about business process. There certainly was a wave of robotic process, robotic process, yes, automation, and that was actually the forerunner, right? So let's say I could put in a robot, and take a process that currently takes 10 people. Now I can have one person that's managing 3 robots 24/7, and I saved that in headcount. Or I was able to take that headcount and deploy it on more strategic projects or put it someplace else in the business and grow it.
Right.
That's robotic process automation. Business product, and that's great. And if you could put a lot of these robots in sequence, you could automate large. So pick source to pay or procure to pay, or invoice. Your invoice comes in. You have to match it to your receipts. You have to match it to the PO. Does the PO match the contract, right? How to reconcile the data. So you could automate certain segments, but because it wasn't really tied together, it was faster. You save time. You could take labor out of the process, make it faster, but you didn't. But it wasn't the end to end. So this next generation, think about it, is instead of these robots, think about it, it's AI enabled and it's end to end. So now that entire process from receiving the invoice to the time that I make the payment is all together in one long automated process. And human interaction is very well defined at certain pieces, where human interaction has to occur, the data is there, the decision is made. So now I've got, so I might have gone in the old days, maybe from 10 people or 5 people to 1. Now I go from now I can take out maybe another 80%, right, of what is left. That generates cash, right? I'm much more efficient.
Efficiency.
And efficiency, it's business process and efficiency. Companies still have very large teams in placing POs. I talked about category strategy. I talked about think about your T&A processes, right? Or your AR processes, creating ARs. How much of is that manual and rote? Business process automation goes across that work stream. So I like to start there because, like I said, deal I had with my CFO, he seeded me a small amount of money. I kept a certain percentage. By the time I was done with the first year, and keep in mind, my ROI in that point was under 3 months. Okay, it was turning really fast. Now you compare yourself to other projects in your business, where an ROI on a manufacturing project is probably 2 years, if you're lucky, right? And so 3 months is very attractive. I now had the CFO coming to me saying, "Do you have anything else? I've got a hole in my P&L. What else do you have?" Right? start there, start generating cash. And those business cases are really easy to do. I'm going to spend $10,000 on automating this project, and I'm going to take out 5 people, right? You can get through an appropriation request for that. You get the cash back, you get credibility of the function, you put more in, and you've got this, even the old book, Good to Great, right? The flywheel is moving, and it's moving faster and faster. Then go to the next tiers. I think the autonomous planning solutions that companies like O9 and KetaQ have, perfect for that next step, right? Those ROIs are usually in the 3 to 6 month period. They're not tens of millions of dollars. You can do a module at a time. You can build a business case around efficiency or pricing or inventory or write-offs. You can put together and they're small enough, right? And you can do one. Again, by then you've justified that your calculations are right and what you say. Then you can do another one and another one. Again, paybacks in those spaces are usually 3, 4, 5 months in that space. And then you can at that point you're generating cash and you can start putting in the other elements. Risk, getting risk management solutions, right? Not that expensive, right? You can take some of the cash you generated from the others to build out a risk management solution. Data strategy starts becoming more expensive, right? But now you're doing it to enable other things you have business cases on. You're not saying, okay, I took this much out, I can take another 20% out by putting this solution. And so even though you might have this picture and you need to, your strategy, your whole end-to-end transformation, you're putting it in place like an entrepreneur, right? And so I'm spending a ton of time on this because when you talk about trouble with implementation, there is no bigger problem than that. Business, getting people on board. People, they want fast returns. They're impatient. They get distracted by other priorities in the business. So speed is just so important. Just get out of the gate and just keep delivering, right? And then you create that pull.